the point that I wanted to make. Easy, that's a word we love these days on TV series. We love to love bad guys. Is Dexter the ultimate anti-hero, at least on TV series? Maybe you can find other examples, but Jack Bauer is killing people, but is not the serial killer like Dexter is. So would you say that's correct? Is he the perfect anti-hero?
Well, I often get my tongue tied in knots talking about whether or not he's an anti-hero. Because Dexter, in some ways, is an anti-hero. In some ways, is a hero. In some ways, he's a superhero. He's like Batman. He was forged, his personality was forged by the death of his parents. He's got some pretty significant father issues. He goes out and fights crime. Now, unlike Batman, and unlike hopefully anybody in this audience, he also chops these people up and throws them in the ocean. That is hardly heroic. What he does actually is reprehensible. But he's very careful about whom he kills, to the point on he lives by a code which most other serial killers do not have. In fact, virtually all serial killers do not have. He lives by a very strict code to channel what, if in this pilot, his father tells him, channel what you must do for good. And that's what he's doing. He's taking out bad people who have slipped between the cracks of the judicial system and of society. Whether it's right or wrong, whether or not you think it's reprehensible, I do. We just have to remember it's entertainment. We're watching a drama. This is anything from a Greek tragedy to Shakespeare to. I just saw a movie, I don't know how to say it in French, but that thing's Rencontre. Which, I don't know who's seen it here, but it's a wonderful movie, and it stars this completely awful guy who does completely awful things and gets thrown into prison, gets thrown into a world that's bigger than he is. And you start to understand him, and you start, I won't give anything away, and you start to understand him, and you start, against your instincts, you start to like him, and then you start to root for him, and you want him to do well. I think the same can be said for Dexter.
But there's one thing you didn't say, is that he's not killing people because he likes it. It's as we saw in the clip, is it's stronger than him. I mean, it's like a sickness. It's like the dark passenger, as he says.
Dexter is killing people. Oh, no, there's something else I want to say, but Dexter is killing people because he has to. He carries within him this very dark shadow that he calls the dark passenger. He was born in the crucible of blood. He sat for 3 days in a shipping container with his mother's body sitting in a pool of blood. And as did his brother, by the way, which you know at the end of the first season. And that damaged him and created an echo in his head that is tapping like a miner at the bottom of a cave trying to get out. One other reason, I think that, to go back to 3 questions, that we identify with Dexter is that I think Dexter speaks to a shadow that lives in all of us. All of us, or most of us, have, almost all of us, have a dark side, have had dark thoughts. And I think we identify with it when Dexter has those dark thoughts. Where we stop identifying is when Dexter acts upon those dark thoughts. And that's the difference. And that's when it becomes, I'll use the word again, reprehensible, but highly dramatic, and highly important to the success of the show.
What about the evolution of the character? So again, let's try not to spoil too much, as you did earlier, but obviously this guy who we we meet being with some kind of animal who cannot connect with anything. He says, I don't feel anything. And he's faking everything. And when we go through the seasons, he starts to feel things. So why this evolution? I mean, you've been there for these 4 years. Why did you decide to drop him in a normal family and then in this house with the baby and everything? And why these feelings?
Sure. Well, I can answer that almost backwards. We'll play it backwards like the usual suspects. You know? We didn't drop him in this house. He strove to get there. One of the things about Dexter, again, that I think is endearing to the audience, is the fact that he wants to be normal. He wants to be part of the life that he's watching around him. And in flashbacks in the first season, we see that as he ineptly tries to endear himself to other characters. He's working in a public place. He's not a serial killer who is sweeping up a library at midnight.
But isn't it just a cover? I mean, that's the goal. That's why if he could, he would live on an island somewhere. I don't know. Don't you believe that?
There are two parts of the code. The first part is